I'm Andrea Diagazio, and this is a brief video outlining the literacy program within my classroom. Literacy, as defined by the Ministry of Education for British Columbia, as well as on page 64 of the Ontario Kindergarten Curriculum document, is defined as a broad term used to describe the development of the physical, emotional, social, creative, linguistic, and intellectual means of communication among young learners. As you can see, this incorporates a lot more than just reading and writing. And here's how it works in the kindergarten program. Through play-based learning, we are able to draw out language development in many ways. So something that's been evident in my experience as a teacher is that students really benefit from engaging in literacy that is specific to their interests. For kindergarten learners, this is something that will have to be drawn out in most cases. In my own class, we're very interested in superheroes. So what we've done as a teaching team is we've put pictures of superheroes around the classroom along with labels with their names, and we've encouraged the students to draw pictures of the heroes that they create in the Lego Center, possibly just pictures. They could be pictures with labeled names, and they can even hopefully write some stories when they're ready, or verbalize those stories to us so that we can write them down for them. This is one way that we take play-based learning and the interest of our students and draw out the literacy within it. A great example of how this was done was in Aiden's story about the dragon eggs. Aiden was so excited to share what he was doing with his dragon eggs and how his dragon eggs would develop in the sandbox, how they would hatch, and what was going to happen next. The educator saw great opportunities for this to be a great literacy activity. She asked Aiden if he could draw a picture to start with. Often, drawing pictures is a first step in literacy for our youngest students. Many of them do not yet know how to read or write when they enter kindergarten, so drawing a picture helps them to communicate, and then they can often orally give us a story to go along with the picture, and then little by little we can start to incorporate labeling their own pictures or thinking about beginning sounds that they hear and writing those down on their pictures. It's very important for us to think about encouraging literacy through play by recognizing the great opportunities that we see in play. So not every bit of play is going to lend itself as well to creating a great, rich learning opportunity. We have to really become aware of what our students are doing. The interest that we are seeing day after day would be a great example of something that we might be able to draw some literacy out of. Sometimes the smallest moments can make for great activities and great ways to pull out rich literacy in their play. So we always have to be on the lookout and observe for those behaviors. A comprehensive literacy program, however, is not only about play-based learning. It also requires some thought and effort to be put into what will be taught explicitly to our students. This can be done through stories that are read aloud, story reading that is modeled and writing that is modeled, story reading that is shared with our students, and writing that is shared with our students, as well as small group or independent activities. There has to be a balance with these activities in order for our program to be really complete and to encompass all of the things that we want to develop with our littlest learners. In kindergarten, it's also important to recognize the ways that young learners communicate their understanding, and it may be quite varied within your classroom. Oral communication might be weighted a little bit heavier when it comes to our youngest learners, as many of them, as I mentioned, are not yet readers and writers. However, it is important to recognize that all students have their own literacy that they come to school prepared with. So if they're able to share with you orally, that is oral literacy. And we can build on that by then helping them to learn how to write their ideas down or communicate their ideas in different ways. For example, through pictures, through maybe little videos that they could capture on an iPad, for example. It's really important to address our students where they are in their learning so that we are ready to move them forward and help encourage them to become better readers and writers. Literacy instruction is also embedded in the kindergarten program throughout the day, every day. In every song that we sing, every poem that we share, in the oral communication that happens during a morning meeting, literacy is just really throughout the program every day. Even from the first moment as the students walk in the door and we greet them, ask them about their day, and communicate with them through facial expression, gesture, and the words that we're speaking, we are starting to develop their literacy right from the moment they walk through the door. As a music background teacher, I like to always incorporate music into everything that we do. So much of the learning that we do explicitly does come through song. We've learned how to make sounds through song, we learn math through song, we learn about our letter names, we learn about shapes, we learn about basically any subject you can think of, whether it be literacy, whether it be about our Catholic virtues that we are studying. There's almost a song for everything. And if there isn't, then I'm happy to write one with a tune that's familiar for our students. And the great thing is that we often see our students later on singing that song in context or in their learning later on in the week. And so we know that it really has an ability to hit home with our youngest learners. Music really sticks with them and helps them to really take those concepts in and keep them. Literacy is also in many of the games that we play with our students, as well as the toys and manipulatives and things that are available throughout our classroom. So for example, we have many puzzles, letter matching games, and other literacy and math-based tools and games for the students to use on a daily basis through their free choice activities. Also, most things are labeled around the room with important words. There's a lot of signage around the room that has both pictures and words, and even our documentation that we share with the students about their learning so that we can extend it even further includes pictures of the students along with quotes that they've said or words that were important during those lessons so that they can look back on those things and reflect on them. It's really important to help our students look at themselves as learners and see how they can move their learning forward as well. And we're able to do this when we demonstrate their learning around the room and they're able to revisit those opportunities that they've had in the past. Literacy should not be a moment in our day. It should be every moment of our day. Yes, explicit teaching has its place and it needs to be reserved for those moments, but literacy should be a part of everything we do throughout the day, and it's our job to plan more explicit teaching of literacy concepts based on students' needs in order to move them forward. Thank you, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that it has shared with you some of the ways that literacy is included in every moment of our day in kindergarten.